Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Devin and I are doing a discussion over the City of Kings. Now, if you've been a fan of the channel for 5 years, then you would know we have actually done a, I think, run-through and discussion of the City of Kings back in 2018. So this is revisiting this game after many years, many campaign games played, 5 years we've known each other.
Many a game, yes.
Six years? I think it's 6 or 7 at this point. But I wanted... So whenever we first played it, I essentially sold it to Devin, and I don't think it's been touched since then.
Yeah, me and my brother played it one time.
That's right.
We made it through story 1, and then tried a little bit of story 2.
Yeah.
And I know with story 2 is where I ran into the 20 Wood scenario, and I was like...
okay, you ran out of ideas after story 1. It was not a game that I particularly liked. I still have my ranking on them. It's a 6.5.
6.5.
And I did not go back and watch that video. I have no idea what I originally said. So how are we feeling 5 years later? This game came out in 2018. I feel like no one talked about it. And if they did in 2018, this game is not talked about at all now. The designer went on to do Isle of Cats, which is a phenomenal tile placement game, but completely different from this. So, after all these years, what do you think of City of Kings?
I think of City of Kings.
Because, let me preface this that originally what I thought this game was not what it was. I was thinking it was going to be this narrative-driven campaign game, interconnected stories, engaging combat with randomized enemies, and character progression and all that. It is not that. And if that's what I thought back then, that is technically unfair to be like, well, it's not that. It's like... So, obviously going in knowing it's not that, you go in with a different mindset. So yeah, anyway. What do you think? What do you think of City of Kings?
What do I think? It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but a little grindy.
God,
pretty grindy.
Yeah,
pretty fucking grindy. It's got a lot of unique elements, and as you said, kind of like a roguelike quality.
Yeah.
The character progression certainly... it's fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun game. It just... it took a minute.
It's long. Yeah. So, my opinion of it has actually gone up. I actually like quite a bit of what it has. I was engaged for the most part until it gets to the boss fights, where it just becomes this screeching halt of this is not balanced in any way towards what the story is wanting you to do.
Because I feel like they give you many avenues to become powerful. So you got your leveling up, you've got different abilities, you've got random skill cards. You can gather gear,
Which is random.
But
that kind of is part of the roguelike nature of it.
Yeah. So it's sure, you could step on to the perfect setup for this boss inadvertently. So unique thing is, you have your hero, but you also have a worker. So you send your worker out to gather your resources and shit, which is all cool. Yeah. But, anytime you get a stat increase, it's either goes to your hero or your worker. And so if, like me, I put a lot of points into my worker, and I found I was certainly lacking against certain boss fights. Certainly made more efficient in gathering gear and whatnot.
Oh yeah, I only did as good as I did because you had workers as efficient.
Yeah, exactly. Which is great, but yeah, you can find yourself just completely incapable of handling some fights.
Yeah, and it does mention, because it does have a difficulty scaling. You can go down to easy, which increases your health and your worker movement and stuff. You can do very easy, which increases your health and attack and healing and worker movement. It says it was designed to be challenging and will take time to master. Basically what that tells me is you're going to lose over and over until you now know the meta, and then it's not fun to be like, well, I know in story 1 this boss is going to come out, so I'm going to level up. I'm not going to progress the story until I level up enough to then be at level 15, drop a trap where I know she's going to be at, and boom, she's dead immediately.
Exactly.
How was that fun? Just say you did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this game is unique. And before I start going into my negatives and the positives, I actually have quite a few positives. If you know in the comments, because I know there's a bunch of expansions for this, and I bet you
Are there a bunch of expansions for this game?
a lot of character expansions. I think there's so hold on, I can actually tell you. Expansions. Well, it's showing 11, but
11 expansions.
Well, hold on. Nah, they're a bunch of promos. So
Gotcha.
there's 2 character packs, Ancient Allies character pack 1 and 2, a side quest pack, a dexterity micro expansion, and then a scenario pack 1 that came out in 2023.
Nice. Wow.
Everything else was 2018 and 2019 for the character expansion. So basically, not like... I mean, I guess the scenario pack, which came out this year, so maybe they're providing more updates. All that being said, I would love to know in the forums, and I'm sure there is, but with fans of this game, if they have, like, rebalanced it. Or if the designer came out and rebalanced it. I mean, Awakened Realms with Ether Fields and other games have come out with, like, rebalanced patches. If that's the case, then I would love to know that, because that will probably mitigate a lot of my negatives. But, yeah, as we were playing this, I was thinking, oh, this is a roguelike. And back in 2018, I didn't like those. I didn't play them. Now that's pretty much all I play. So I love the idea of the items coming out. That's the drop. The tiles being random. So it's like the procedurally generated room. But at the end of every procedurally... Like, if you're playing Dead Cells, you know who the end boss is. So you just go and go and go until you eventually get enough drops and permanent upgrades to fight the boss, and you progress and you rinse repeat. The problem is, again, that's all in a video game. So all those drops are instant. All those loots are instant. All those deaths are instant. So you reset. And then a run in roguelike is typically... At most, I think the longest roguelike I've played is like an hour to do one full run. This is not an hour. And it doesn't have a save system to even make it bite-sized. So the stories are just insanely long for the procedurally generated stuff to completely wear off until you eventually get to the loop and you're like with the first boss in story 1, it's like, okay, well, we just do nothing. We run around until we can finally fight her.
Until she responds.
So the gimmick just completely wears off and becomes a grind, like you said. And that just is extremely frustrating. Because other than that, like... I think the enemy system, which I'm amazed has not been taken. Like,
It's really cool.
It's easily the best part of the game. Like, having these whatever enemies, I think the first time I was like, oh, this isn't thematic. You just gotta put a little bit more thought into it and read the lore on who the creatures are. But then it's like, you have this banner of them, and you draw tokens, and it's like, that's what they can do. And it's funny, because Too Many Bones it came out the year before, but I know I didn't play it before this. If I hadn't played Too Many Bones, I probably still wouldn't like this. But with Too Many Bones combat, that's also not thematic or anything. It's, here are the chips, here's your character build, figure out the puzzle. And that's exactly what this is. Like, the enemies come out, they're level 7, here are their stats, and then draw from the bag, read what those do. Now figure out how you can bypass all that and deal with it. I think that is stellar. So yeah, what? Anything else? Any other thoughts you got?
Let's see here. What did I go over? The unique stat system. We talked about the character creation or the monster creation.
Because a lot of your stat boosts are going to come from items.
And let's see here, we have our level ups, unique skills. It's good. It's an interesting game, a little grindy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a lot coming from you. To be fair.
I mean, that one was a little rough. I don't know. I still like the game. It's very unique. So yeah, this one definitely sidelines. How do I? It surprises me because you look at it, you're like, oh, RPG.
Yeah.
I develop my character and I power through the thing, but they definitely make it a lot more of a thinker, a little more of a stratagem.
It's you have your city building. I mean, it's not city building, but it's like your resource management, workers, like literally. And there's been other games where there's a game called I think it's Rune Wars, where it was an area control game. You had like armies, but then you also controlled a hero. So you would do your army stuff of armies battling, but then you would move a hero around to either maybe aid in a battle or go doing quests. And that was always unique too. So it's kind of like that where your workers, you're spending your actions, so your action allocation, to either have your workers go out and get your resources, which then allow your hero to equip items. And that's going to be obviously your biggest stat buff. And also defeating enemies, completing quests, get you XP, which is shared, thank God. That give you, your skill tree, which is really, really cool. The fact that you can modify your, skill upgrades, that's unique. But yeah, it's, I've never seen anything like it. Like, we've played tons of these kinds of games, worker placement games or campaign games. Not a single one of them, I guess we haven't played it yet, but Frosthaven utilizes resources, but that's nothing like this at all. Other games of this type have resources, but they're not literally like a worker placement game. So, but man, then they have weird decisions of, just capping your character just for the sake of capping it. Like, why can't I put on a fucking helmet?
Yeah.
Just 'cause.
Well, they definitely staggered them. It's definitely more of a mechanical decision.
Yeah.
They want to be like, okay, Greaves give you 1 stat. Your body's going to give you 2 to 3. Looks like, I don't know, I haven't seen even a helmet yet. Head, which they have quite a few. 5 or 6. So you really have to work for them, but they're worth it.
I don't mind the fact that, you can either, depending on how you want to build your character, it's either get your health all the way up, your attack up, or your heal up. To 5 for any of those, which will then unlock your head, and then get any of those to 10, which now you can unlock arms, which, those are significant stat buffs on top of the stat buffs you got from leveling up. It's but it is definitely just a mechanical thing. There's no thematic reasoning, which I guess, you can throw theme out the window, really. There's no rhyme or reason why all the, every time you pull this, the boss gets whatever deep tingers. Every time you pull them, why they have different abilities. So, really, they have a theme and they have a world, but just ignore all that, and it's a worker placement, resource management, roguelike. With a story and a boss. But that's still cool. Like I said, I was engaged pretty much the entire time. Even whenever we saw the boss, and it was like, oh, okay. So
this is an ordeal.
Yeah, she has 2 retaliate, so we were taking 2 damage. She gets 2 health, 2 healing, 6 attack, and every time we hit her, she gets a powerful, a green ability.
So she just gets more and more powerful every time. So it's like you have to make your licks count.
Yep.
And she's just a standstill turret until she gets an ability that lets her move.
Yeah. And that's definitely the puzzle element of range is only drawn in a straight line. So it's like, well, she's here, so we know that. So we know where we're going to be attacked. So yeah, that's the puzzle. And that's what I really like. But yeah, whenever it's just kind of like, we did 4 chapters in story 1, and they gave us 2 fucking XP and a gear. in what progression system is that? You're like exploring. I mean, you're not going to be even close to her level with the boss one stat to be like, okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, I get it, she's a boss, so she should be more difficult than the run-of-the-mill people, but it's like, we're not even close. She one-taps us. Mm-hmm. And you can only die 3 times, so yeah, the only thing is to play story 1 over and over and over again until...
Every boss has 9 range.
Yeah, it's basically, it's unlimited range. Just do an infinity sign, that doesn't matter. Because it's all drawn in a straight line anyway. But, like, it doesn't scale. Mm-hmm. And that's the frustrating part. Because, like, yeah, you do the first 4 parts of a chapter.
And then grinding all boss fight.
Yes. Yeah. Because every other fight, literally every other fight that you have, it's kind of like, ooh, how are we going to deal with this? This new puzzle, and it's like, you can either kill them immediately, and then once they're a little higher level, you're like coordinating attacks, and then maybe getting dropped by one of them. It's like, okay, yeah, this feels still like rewarding. Yeah, it's the first enemy. Mm-hmm. We're super weak. All that scales well. Then it's like, boss, okay, now I didn't bother putting any effort into scaling.
Mm-hmm. Jeez.
And I wonder if the reason why is because there's no cap on your skills in story 1, so there's nothing stopping you from doing what you did, get a bunch of resources, and to be over level. So
there is a time system with the hope.
True.
So you have a certain amount of time, but we had quite a few turns to it definitely. The pacing was like, we got there quick. It was like, just go to point A, or okay, now just reveal a few creatures, kill a few creatures, until finally it's like, okay, shit her out.
Yeah.
By that point, because everything else was super easy.
Yeah.
And then
I think you got dropped by one regular creature because of the poison. Mm-hmm. But that was just because...
And that's because I didn't take the time to go back.
Exactly, yeah. You moved all the workers and it was like, oh shit, we forgot about the poison.
Yeah, I was like, wasn't really taking it seriously at that point. I'm like, oh, I've got 3 lives, we're fine.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh wait, sorry, I attacked her once. Yeah, I guess that kills me. Mm-hmm. And that ultimately, unfortunately, kind of kills it in a way that I would never want to replay, like, story 1. It's kind of, they even have an achievement thing to be like, hey, write down the achievements. Can you beat them all? I guess that you write this down, and if this is full, you're like, I'm done with this game forever.
Yeah.
And then they have the heroic and legendary, which is just a joke. It's just a, pat yourself on the back. Like, yay, we did it. We got heroic. Oh, did you get anything for the next story? No. And that's also a little bit disappointing. Like, I get it. Back when we first reviewed, I was like, they don't connect? There's no overarching narrative? Sure. Okay, that's fine. Like, Too Many Bones doesn't have an overarching narrative campaign. It's just pick a tyrant, go after them. Mm-hmm. I feel like there must have been some inspiration from Too Many Bones here.
Yeah.
Like, the boss, you don't know who you're fighting. I guess we do, but then it's like, that's the tyrant you pick, and then you go until them. You have quests, which are story things, which are quests like the event deck in Too Many Bones. While the enemies aren't procedurally generated, the stack of random baddie chips that come out as your puzzle, like, there's no way with Too Many Bones coming out a year before this that there wasn't some inspiration pulled from it. But when they mention multiple stories and to go to the next one, I feel like you should have some element of, like, because it says, oh, pick a scenario. Do you want to do a scenario or do you want to do a story? Well, if you're giving them that option, then there should be some carryover, right? A little bit.
I know, yeah, when you have an XP level system, you expect kind of carryover.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess in this game, that's...
I'm not even saying
just depends on how
gear.
you want to scale it.
Yeah. I'm not even saying keep gear or anything, but like, hey, you start with some stat upgrades, and then especially if you want to push yourself and go for the heroic or legendary things, if you complete those, then yeah, you should get some bonus for doing that, not just some, you did it, write the date down.
Yeah, say the scenarios are not super inspired.
No.
Let's see here. Scenarios. Let's create the NPC.
I mean, yeah, you're gonna have different tiles to go explore, but they're again just resource tiles.
Here's a good one. Here's that amazing scenario. It's like, okay, guys, I got this awesome game. Let's play. Let's do a scenario, a random one. Let's do a random scenario.
Bring 50 wood to the old barn. That's like fucking RuneScape bullshit. That's like online MMORPG.
Oh, was that one too basic for you?
Oh, just 50, only 50 wood, 20 wood, 20 resources, 20 linen to the old barn.
Let's see.
You know what?
There's a few that are building, like that whole stronghold thing where you build strongholds. That might be interesting. Defeat all visible creatures.
Yeah, and unfortunately, stuff like this is just completely uninspired. It's almost like if I didn't know any better, if this game came out today and these were the scenarios, I would think it was AI generated. Because that's the unfortunate part. Like, you do the story, which at least has some chapter, connection, but imagine, setting this out, explaining the game, being like, hey, yeah, it's a resource management game, but you also have a character that you upgrade, and there's randomization of the bosses. Okay, so how do we win? Oh, we need to get 50 wood. I'd probably slap you across the face, be like, oh, hi, Devin. No, seriously, no. Who's the boss, or what's our? No, we need to go resource 50 wood. So fuck the character upgrades. Just get your worker there. It's like, yeah, never mind. Thanks for setting it up. I wasted my gas coming down here. I'm going home. You know how to block numbers, right? Yeah, just go and block me. That's insulting, completely. That's not even.
What's the setup even? Is some kind of unique setup at least?
3 morale.
So 3.
So stats 5 XP, 6 stats, 2 skills. Creature stat bar starts at 5, 3 equipment. You have tiles 1, 2, and 5. Specific ones: Wolfwood, Oakwood, the Hiziki Caravan, and then you have 3 attention on the Oakwood and Melian Forest.
I mean, I guess to gather all resources, you're generating creatures?
You are. I mean, and yeah, I mean, you're gonna have those encounters and stuff, and that puzzle element.
Yeah,
in there. But the end game is literally just 50 wood.
I'm collecting 50 wood. I don't know. It just doesn't make me want to play.
yeah. No, that's to just sit here.
God.
I mean, because we're playing Sons of the Forest. Imagine if I was like, hey, all we're doing for the next 4 hours, man, we're chopping trees down. That's it. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, well, I want to go explore some. Yeah, let's fucking. And that's the problem with this game, I think, is because once you do a scenario of this or two, the novelty does wear off in that you're not exploring anything. Nothing new is going to be presenting itself. Yeah, I mean, there's a massive deck of quests that have. I love seeing the things where it's stack a thing. Yeah,
that was cool. I thought that was unique.
I love when games bring in outside elements, dexterity stuff to make it whimsical. That's really neat. But unfortunately, it's not like, ooh, what's a new tile? What's, Sleeping Gods level stuff of what events are we having? It's nope, we're gonna know what tiles are coming out. We need to find the 2 wood areas and just milk that. Because, here's the thing. Your caravans can hold 6 wood. Mm-hmm. That means you're gonna have to walk them all the way there, as they're slow as hell, to potentially, not even guaranteed, you roll to get, not luck, but you roll to get 6 wood max. Walk them all back. Which is 12 wood. You're playing this with 2 people, so 24 wood. Best case scenario, that takes 2 full trips for both players. Mm-hmm. Not even that, sorry, that only gets you 48. That's awful. So, yeah, I mean, again, my opinion of it has increased over it. I do think this is a unique game. And it is unfortunate, though, that all the expansions, though, are just character upgrades. Like, it's not really more content. It's not more stories. It's not a revamped system. I'd love to see this completely redone. I think that is such a cool system. The 3 bags of items. That is such a unique element that it's just... I've never seen it. But that's not that can't be the only thing that carries it, because even that'll wear off. You have to, like, you're going out just to spawn monsters just to draw from a bag and see what it is. And I could say my score only increased because it's been 5 years, so it's like kind of new again. But man, I don't know. The more we talk about it, the more I'm actually starting to wear off on it again. You have any other positives?
Hey, it's got some unique elements. They kind of missed the mark.
Because 2018 Kickstarter is not the same as 2023 Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I think this game has elements to be successful. I think you could do this same idea of procedurally generated, arena, procedurally generated enemies. The system, the upgrade system, it looks like a lot. I think you can have all that, but it almost feels like it needs to be done in an actual traditional RPG. Like, imagine if you had to do all this, and then you had, like, a settlement phase, like in, Frosthaven, or a settlement phase in KDM, where it's like, all the resources we happen to gather, that you took priority to get, you now build up a settlement, which gives you permanent buffs to carry over into the next, story, like in any roguelite game, where it's like, hey, we did this, we meet these, objectives, which now gives us a permanent buff to carry over into the next scenario. So it's like, yeah, we know this is going to get harder. We can keep redoing stuff so that eventually we get more permanent things that will help us in the long run. To make it even more like a roguelike that it wants to be.
Yeah.
At least that it feels like it wants to be. So you never know what your enemies are going to get, but that's part of the puzzle. Resources still matter. Have permanent progression on your characters, so that actually matters, instead of being like, well, I sat here for 4 hours, let's do story 2, wiped completely. It's like, but why? Have weapons that your characters are using, or even not, maybe you do the roguelike thing, but you actually have a designated equipment pile that are like, hey, you have all these basic weapons, sword, iron, broadsword, broadsword, shield, and then it's like, oh, well, in the settlement phase, we built these weapons. Now they're shuffled into the item deck, so maybe it'll be a drop. This is a rare item. Now it's a rare drop.
Yeah.
And here we are again with me talking about games that don't exist. That's not this game. That would be a cool game that Frank West, the designer, could just immediately just do City of Kings 2nd Edition. You remember Massive Darkness? And how the 1st edition sucked? That was the one with the light and dark tiles, and then the mobs of enemies that just felt like nothing.
Okay, vaguely.
Okay, we did Massive Darkness 2, where there's a berserker, and then the thief, and the rogue, and it's still a dungeon crawl.
Okay, sorry, I was getting that mixed up with something completely different.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, 1st edition, how that was like trash and no one liked it.
Yeah.
And then 2nd edition came out, still calling it Massive Darkness, but it completely overhauled the system, and now it's like, I have it, and I'm like, this is a blast. Go on Kickstarter for City of Kings 2nd Edition and actually make, just revamp this game. Like, this has the bones here, for sure. But, yeah, it would definitely get the public eye, and it's like, hey, I know I'm calling it City of Kings 2nd Edition, but I'm completely redoing it to make it a full-fledged campaign with perma upgrades, but still a roguelike genre, because still, that's not done in board gaming. And playing this again, this is probably the closest I've seen to doing relatively well. But I guess only time will tell. He may just have completely... I mean, apparently he's doing a scenario pack in 2023.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that was...
So he hasn't forgotten about it.
I guess not. I highly doubt that'll happen. I wonder if just the community of people who like this game really like this game. It's sitting at a 7.5.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Now that could just be from when it came out, and no one's ranking it since then. But also at the same time, the community is 51% says this is best at 1. So I bet you it's just horrible. Maybe it's completely unbalanced with multiple people, and like the boss one. What's the boss one? Do you have the tile for like the boss one for one player?
Oh, for one player?
Yeah.
That's gonna be another bag. I don't even know if they have a 1-for-1.
Unless you control 2. Oh, no, never mind. I lied. Sorry. To play solo, you will need to pick either 2, 3, or 4 player mode and set up the game following normal rules. Sorry, so you just run 2 people.
Gotcha.
Well, never mind. That's stupid.
So we can do it like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, stories, 1.5 to 3 hours.
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, 1.5 is for either very easy or for you've played story 1 over and over, and then you're like, we know exactly what to do. So instead, let's say we did that and play a different game.
Yeah.
Because the characters are unique as well. I like that. I mean, their stats aren't. That's the only unique thing is the skill tree. So, I mean, some people might rather have unique stats as well. But that kind of goes with the customization of the character building. So I'm fine with having the abilities be uniquely tied to the character.
Yeah, those are cool. We didn't really delve into them much, but we've only played like the first scenario.
Yeah.
I guess we haven't really taken it to where it's higher level, where you start with more experience, you get to higher levels easier, I guess.
But that's the thing is like, I don't want to do that. And I mean, let us know in the comments if it's like, oh no, story 1 is really unbalanced, but later on it gets better. It's like, yeah, I mean, potentially. I can read the abilities, and those can be pretty cool. Like, I have Bless, instantly gain 3 stat points to spend on your hero. You may increase any hero stat in any combination.
Nice. I have a cool top. Quartermaster, instantly spend 5 stats on your workers. And increase any worker stats in any combination.
So you're the huge
I should
worker
read these before, and then build towards them.
Sure. Yeah. And some of them are just like, just like a better, like, hey, now I can move at any time.
Oh, look at this one. Ironhide, when you are in range of 2 or more creatures, incoming basic attacks are reduced by 10.
That's your tier. That's your tier 3.
That's a tier 3 one. Yeah, because it's like, they don't give you a bunch of discs.
No.
Like, we were pretty well, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more discs coming our way. I mean, from the point where we were at. Yeah, you're at most. I mean, if you go straight there and spread out, I guess you could possibly get 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But you're not
Yeah.
getting
I mean, the game is not meant. I mean, it even says in the difficulty, it's not meant for you to feel overpowered.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
I mean, a lot of mine was Mother's Song. I could perform 2 basic heals, one immediately after the other, but that requires my special and a heal. So that's 2 of my actions to do basic heals. I don't know. I don't feel like I would want to do that. So, yeah, I mean, I at least the boss is fucking tough. I also don't really like the fact that, I mean, granted, it would be impossible with 9 range, but I don't like the fact that range is only straight lines. It's like, well, that's I mean, I get it. That's more, again, mechanical than thematic.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, she pops out and then just drops everyone immediately. And I also like the fact that whenever the enemies do come out, like whenever you interact, they go before you, so you get to see what they do, and then be like, how are we going to deal with this? You're engaged for the most part, but yeah, if you're trying to... This game is not for everyone.
Yeah.
It's going to have a niche following. Man, I still think this is me, I guess, being super egotistical, but it's like, yeah, just imagine if this was actually a narrative-driven campaign with elements just kind of squeaked around to have the story connect. Especially if you're going to create a world, why wouldn't you want storytelling? Anyway, yeah, so on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you giving City of Kings?
Oh, man. I don't know anymore. I'll give it... It's got really cool elements. But man, it's just been dry. I'll go to 5.
5?
Yeah, I'll go to 5.
Wow. Wow, that's actually lower than me. I thought yeah, I thought we were going to be kind of on the same page. Yeah, I was originally actually going to bump it up to a 7. But then as we kept talking, I realized, nah. Nah, it's not good enough to be a 7, unfortunately. So I might actually bump my score down from what it was. To a 6.
6.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a 6.5. I am going to bump it down because, yeah, if you were going to be like, oh, let's play this, I'd probably be like, how about we play it again in 4 more years?
Yeah, I'm definitely not like, I don't look forward to it.
Yeah.
Now that we played it, I'm like, oh, okay, you mentioned it. I'm like, oh, I haven't broken that out in a while.
Right.
And I remember when we first played it, I was really like tickled with it. Of course, that's why I bought it from you.
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely not to my taste anymore.
Yeah.
I don't believe it's got really cool elements.
The RPG elements are easily the best part, but then it's bogged down by just, yeah, grind, tediousness, length.
Yeah, did that need to be 3 hours?
No.
Like,
No.
So we danced around this one orc with infinite range.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
In the middle, so it was like at the top of the thing and then the middle of the arena.
Yeah, it was a lot of grind.
Yeah.
A lot of grind. Yeah, and I'm like, sometimes I like grind. But I like grind. Like, I can stand grind in like a big campaign when I know there's like an overarching goal that I'm going to stock up for later to make things easier in the future.
That's true.
That's when I can tolerate grind.
Yeah.
But this,
like when you're grinding and it's like, hey, let's try and kill as many enemies as possible, like in Vadora, so because we're going to get more money, which we can use on items later on, which, yeah, that makes sense. Here, it's like, why am I grinding when I know it doesn't matter? When I know all I'm doing is putting a date on this paper-thin achievement sheet.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's a good point. And then even then, it's like, oh, well, let's play kind of like a puzzle-less combat game. Well, Assault on Doomrock I'm about to get, which is pretty much that, and Too Many Bones. And Burn Cycle, which that's not really combat, but that's a heist puzzle game. Pretty much any chip theory game, now that I think about it, is just like, hey, this isn't really thematic combat, but it's a puzzle, and you're going to have a unique puzzle every time you play.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I'm actually going to drop this to a 5.
Timer!
Yeah. Yeah.
5 it up.
So, yeah, I mean, if I ever see anything on a second edition, I'd definitely take a look. I'd be like, hey, oh shit, City of Kings 2nd edition, what's he doing?
Yeah.
Let's see. It's been 5 years. Why not? But other than that, I don't got anything else. Do you?
Nope, I don't think so.
All right, cool. Well, that's our thoughts on City of Kings. Let us know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.